Boom, 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 boom. Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1639, Tips to Overcoming Jet Lag. Yes, we are switching it up tonight. Cross that one off. Okay, so tips to overcoming jet lag. Now, first of all, the big disclaimer. I am not a medical person of any description. I am not a nutritionist of any description. I am a traveler. I have traveled a lot. I have done international flights. I've done domestic flights. So these tips that I am giving you are from personal experience. These are what work for me. I will be sharing some that don't work for me because they work for other people. But the advice I'm giving you tonight on jet lag is from my personal experience. It's what works for me. It may work for you. It may not work for you. And that's totally okay. So first of all, welcome to everybody who's watching us on Facebook. Welcome to everybody who's watching us on YouTube. And welcome to all of my TikTok family. Oh my gosh, I have to tell you, I got some great guys on, guys and girls here on TikTok. They send me all sorts of love. It's amazing. But anyway, so for those on Facebook and those on YouTube, there in the description, there is links to what we're going to be talking about tonight. And so we're going to talk about jet lag. And like I said, this is my personal experiences with remedies that help me overcome jet lag. So what is jet lag? Jet lag, it's a whirlwind thing. I am fortunate that I have never really suffered from jet lag. I'm trying to think of all the times I've traveled, have I ever had any issues? And I can honestly say that I haven't. It's, what was I going to say? I don't know. It just totally went out of my head, whatever I was going to say. Anyway, so what can cause jet lag? Dehydration. When you are flying, drink water. Stay away from the caffeine. Stay away from the sodas with the sugar in it. Stay away from the caffeine and sugar, and stay away from the alcohol, because caffeine is a diuretic, which is going to make you want to pee more. Sugar, same kind of thing, as well as alcohol. Those things will dehydrate your body. So stay hydrated with water. And I know some people, but I really like to have a drink and da-da-da-da. Yeah, I know, I get it. Some people like that. But it has been proven over many times that not staying hydrated while you are flying, you could get restless, you could get headaches, you get fatigued, you get dizzy, all sorts of things that they turn around and say that you may get. The other thing is that your body's having to adjust to the air pressure as well. There's a travel and leisure article about jet lag and about what some of the causes are, and some is the height that you have to go at in such a quick thing with the cabin pressure can also have an effect on you as well. One good thing that I have with when I'm flying is I wear compression socks. They just help me and keep moving the feet and that around. That's just to avoid any DVTs or deep vein thrombosis, which are clots. So compression socks are always good. You always get that swelling, because I like to take my shoes off when I'm on a flight, and I have some slip-ons that I put on, especially when I'm going to the bathroom. Always, always, always make sure you've got shoes on when you go to the bathroom. You do not want to go to the bathroom without shoes on any plane, anywhere, at any time. So I just have some little slip-on sandals that I can do, or water shoes. Aqua shoes are pretty good too, because they're pretty comfortable. And then having put my walking shoes on afterwards, I always find my feet swell. So I put compression socks on, and it takes care of that problem for me. Anyway, if you are feeling ill while you are in flight, and this kind of has a little bit to do with the cabin pressure and thing, let the flight stewards know. My husband had an issue one time where he wasn't feeling well. And so thinking it could be air sickness, because it is a thing, air sickness, they bought him some oxygen to have. Unfortunately, his was completely different. He had some blood clots going through his system, which caused him to pass out in the middle of a flight. Thankfully, there was an ICU nurse on board, or we would have been diverted somewhere else. Try and take some deep breaths just to help you settle down and just relax on the flight. I know some people have a fear of flying. Sometimes on the turbulence side, I totally understand that. Takeoff, I can understand why some people are a little nervous on that. Landing, totally get it. Landing is a controlled crash. That's what my dad told me one time. And so every time we come into land, I'm like, oh, damn it, we're going to crash. But it's a controlled crash, so we're okay. The air filtration systems actually open up your air vent. You know how you have those little twisty air vents above you? Open that up. You might think you've been exposed to germs and viruses, but here's the thing. The airplanes these days with the technology we have really, really good filtration systems on board. Drink water, we've already said that. Move. Get up, walk around. There's some exercises that you can do while you're at your chair where you flex your feet. Do some like with your feet flat on the floor, raise up so you're on your toes. So there's that getting that movement going as well, because that can help relieve some of the jet lag issues. Avoid fatty foods. I know it's like that sugar thing and the alcohol thing and the caffeine thing. Avoid fatty foods and eating energy stuff, foods with energy and things in it will help your body and not have that dragged down, tired out thing. Relieve pressure. Have something that you can chew on while you're taking off, because it helps pop the ears. So things like gum is a good thing to do, although gum kind of gives you leaky gut. But it's not often that if you don't fly that often, it doesn't matter. But I have a better solution for you for that one. So just hold on one moment. They say take vitamins, things like vitamin C and vitamin B, and B12 will help your mood and increase red blood cell formation. This is from this article I'm reading. This one I've never found works for me though. And that is tricking your circadian rhythm. And there's things like that. Things that they suggest is like, try and get into the time zone that you're going to by starting to adapt to when they're sleeping, you're sleeping at home. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't work for me. But they say if you're traveling eastward, exposing yourself to morning light is better to adapt to earlier time zones. One exception of this is if you've traveled more than 8 time zones away from your point of departure. Yeah, flying to New Zealand can kind of cause that. And then they say avoid bright light. Well, yeah. And just take your time. Now, what does Helen do to help avoid jet lag? I have my own remedies that work very well for me. I was racing around trying to find it, but I don't know what I have done with it. I may have even run out of it. But I have this homeopathic remedy. It's called No Jet Lag. And the links are in the description below. For those of you on TikTok, I'll put a link to the video on YouTube so you can see the links there. And I'll put that into my bio. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so no jet lag. These are homeopathic remedies. They're actually made in New Zealand, which was really cool when I found them. You can get them from Whole Foods. You can get them from some Whole Foods carry them. Some Trader Joe's carry them. Some Sprouts carry them. I get mine from Amazon because it's just super easy. I don't have to go to a supermarket and go looking for them, and it might be one of the ones that don't. And these are homeopathic remedies. They're little lozenges about yay big, and you suck on one 30 minutes before you take off. So basically when you start boarding the plane, if you're doing international flights, well, most planes start boarding 30 minutes before takeoff anyway. So when you start to board, take a lozenge. And the other time you can take a lozenge too is on takeoff, and you just suck them. And they don't interfere with any, they say on the packet that they don't interfere with any medication. I don't take medication, so I don't know if they do or not, but they're homeopathic. And so the other thing that I've done with them is I actually will actually take it during takeoff. And that helps with the air popping things. I don't have to chew gum because I really don't like chewing gum anyway. Other things you can do is suck on hard candy, but then that's the sugar thing. We're trying to avoid sugar while we're flying. During flight, I nearly always drink water the entire time that I'm on board the plane. Occasionally, I might just feel like having a ginger ale or a cranberry juice. But most of the 99% of the time, I'm drinking water when on a flight, especially when I'm on overseas flights, the long haul ones. And that just helps keep me hydrated. Yes, I might have to go to the bathroom a little more often, but not as often as if I have a drink of caffeine and dehydrate my body and then end up with headaches and all sorts of other things, which has happened. So that's one way. And then with the lozenges, you take them 30 minutes before you take off, or I actually take them on takeoff. And then you take them every 3 to 4 hours in flight, and then 30 minutes after you land. And by doing that, I do not have an issue with jet lag. I have flown from LA to Prague, from Budapest back to LA. I've flown from LA and San Francisco to New Zealand, and never had an issue with any of it, none at all. So I find that those work very well for me. Like I said, I am not a health professional in any way. I am not a nutritionist. This is just what works for me. That's one thing that I use. The other thing that I do when I actually get to where I'm going, actually, no, before we get there, while in flight, about an hour out after if you're flying down to New Zealand, they feed you breakfast and they come through and they clean up. About an hour before you're due to land is when they come through and get all the pick up all the plates and everything. At that point, even though I have slept on the plane, I actually don't have a problem sleeping on the plane. Now, here's the really weird thing. If I'm going down to New Zealand, I'm excited to see my family, right? I get on the plane, I watch I have my dinner, watch a couple of movies, I sleep, I then wake up, I have breakfast, then I do my cat napper. And cat napper is an audio thing that you do have to do with headphones because it's a thing called HemiSync, which works on the brain waves. And it's a 30-minute self-hypnotic meditation thing. And the reason I do it an hour before we land is because that hour before we land is the least amount of time there's going to be public announcements. If you're doing it during that last 30 minutes before landing, they're like, tray tables up, we're coming through, we're doing this, we're doing that, and there's constant things coming over the system. So about an hour beforehand, maybe a little earlier, I'll do that. And that is a very refreshing way to grab a quick nap, and it's a very refreshing nap. That's an audio thing that you can download, you can stream it, MP3, all of that sort of stuff. And I got mine from Amazon, and I have been using that for years. Another thing that I do, so that's while on the plane. Once I'm off the plane, of course, I take my no jet lag, my last one on that trip. And then when I get to where I'm going, and now when I go to New Zealand, I fly into Auckland. I then have to get from the international terminal over to the domestic terminal. So I'm outside. We get in around 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And then I get the transfer bus from the international terminal over to domestic terminal. And then I probably have about an hour or two wait once I get to the domestic terminal, depending on how quickly I get through customs and immigration. And then I get my connecting flight down to Wellington, which is where my parents meet me. And so I'm getting in like mid to late morning. And then we've got the drive home to their place, which is about 40 minutes to an hour, depending on the traffic. And then when I get there, one thing I like to do, the first thing before I even take a shower, because that's one thing I always do when I first get there is I take a shower. Before I even do that, I take my shoes and socks off because I am so happy to get my feet out because I am flat-footed. I hate wearing shoes. And I go outside into the grass and scrunch my toes. If you do not have grass, dirt, or sand, or anything on the ground where you can scrunch your toes with, like if you're near a beach, go down to the beach and do this. If you've got dirt that you can go out and put your feet in, or grass that you can do this with, outside is best. If you don't have that available to you, but you have carpet, same thing. And if you've ever seen the movie Die Hard, when Bruce Willis, John McCane's on the plane and coming into land, the guy next to him tells him, whenever you get to where you're going, take your shoes and socks off and scrunch them in the carpet. And he goes into the explanation of that. And I'm like, been doing that for years. The first time I saw it, I've been doing that for ages. But there's something about scrunching your toes in the carpet, in the sand, in the dirt, in the grass that helps reset everything in your body and just grounds you. It stops that flighty. Sometimes when you get off planes, you kind of feel like you're still flying a little bit. It helps ground you and stops that flighty feel. And it can also help combat the jet lag as well. So that's one of my favorite things to do. Then I go and have a shower. Because we're there mid-morning, I do not take a nap until it's time to go to bed. I go to bed at my regular time. When I get to New Zealand, I go to bed at my regular time. And this is what I do. I have, I love this. In 1 ounce of water, I have my favorite oils that I always travel with. And I've got peppermint, lemon, and lavender. Now you have to make sure that they are ones that you can ingest, because there are some oils out there that you cannot ingest. And how do I know I can ingest these ones? Because they have the supplement information on the back. The supplement facts about what's in it. What do they have on? The supplement facts, the things per serving and all that sort of stuff. So these are the 3 oils that I use. These 3 oils are incredible when you combine them together, because not only do I use them during allergy season, I use them to reset my body clock. And so what I do with these is I take an ounce of warm water. I put 3 drops of each into an ounce of warm water. I put it into my mouth and keep it under my tongue and just swirl it around in the mouth for about 30 seconds and then swallow. Then what I do is that when I go to bed, I get my hand and body lotion, which is unscented and is a great, and this is, it's unscented because then you can use whatever oils you want. And I take this with a drop of lavender on it and I massage it into my feet. I go to bed, boom, I'm out like a light. I do my normal bedtime routine. This is the only thing I add to it, and wake up the next morning and I'm good to go. My body clock is reset and I am good to go. So that's one other way that I can, that I do for my, I gotta smell some peppermint. I love peppermint. And peppermint is really good for nausea of any type. I use peppermint for, peppermint oil gets used for nausea. And it's also very good for clearing the sinuses. You can get the little beadettes for this, and I pop them in the mouth and let it explode. And then once the little beadlet explodes, I start taking these deep breaths in through my nose, and it helps clear out the sinuses and the fogginess in the head. So that's another good use for peppermint. Or I can just put a drop on my tongue and do the same thing. So that's what I use: peppermint, lavender, and lemon oil together, and then a drop of lavender oil with my unscented hand and body lotion, and massage that into my feet, out like a light. I wake up the next morning, my body clock is set. I do the same thing on the reverse when I get home back to the States. So when I leave New Zealand and I get home to the States, same thing. It's the same thing when I'm flying. The only thing is that when I'm flying back to the US, I can't sleep. Flying down to New Zealand, where I'm most excited to go see my family, I will sleep. It's not a problem. Coming back, I can't sleep. I don't know what it is. I just can't sleep when on the plane on the way back. And I'm like, I was excited to go down and see my parents and I can sleep, but on the return flight, I can't. But that's okay. By the time I get back home, it's early afternoon. So it's around, my flight usually gets in around 2:30 into LAX. And then I haven't flown from Phoenix to New Zealand yet. And then of course I would then have to drive back down to San Diego once I did that. So that was grab some food, find somewhere to go eat first, and then get on the road, and put some peppermint on the back of the neck, put some peppermint here, and that helps wake up the brain a little bit, and I'm able to drive my 2 hours back to San Diego. So now I'm going to be getting off in LA, getting on a connecting flight, or in San Francisco, getting on a connecting flight to Phoenix, and then driving home from Phoenix. But when I get home, it'll be the same thing. Scrunch my toes. It'll be in carpet because we only have gravel out back. Scrunch my toes in the carpet, and then go and have a shower. And by that stage, by the time I do all of that, it'll be mid to late afternoon. And then I'll just go to bed at my normal time, and I will do my 3 drops of lavender, lemon, and peppermint in my 1 ounce of thing, and massage my feet with lavender oil. I'll be out like a light, and I'll wake up the next morning at my normal time and be ready to go for the day. So what do you find works well for you when you are flying? I've got yet to find something that works for me on the plane. And I'm sort of like, trying to find things. But I do have a sleep patch that I'm going to try next time. This one has no medication in it. It has no drugs in it. It's completely drug-free, prescription-free, all of that sort of stuff. It just works on like a thumbprint on the skin that tells the brain what to do. I've tried it for sleeping and regular in a bed, and it works really, really good. And so I'm going to try that on my next flight down to New Zealand. I'm going to try the patch especially on the way home, to see if I can get to sleep on the way home. But those are my tips for overcoming jet lag. And as I've always said through this video, I am not a medical professional in any capacity. I am not a nutritionist in any capacity. This is what works for me. Some people will take melatonin for their flights. I can't get to sleep on that stuff. What else? What other ones have they come up with? Yeah, there's all sorts of different sleep remedies and stuff out there. And whenever I've tried them, especially on the way home from New Zealand, it doesn't work. Didn't work helping me get, I mean, I have no problem getting to sleep going to New Zealand. It's coming home that's the problem. But that's okay. We'll figure it out. It'll all get figured out. I'll figure it out. So I'm excited to try my sleep patches the next time I fly down to New Zealand and see how they do. But that's what I do on long haul flights. And going to Europe and coming back from Europe, we were traveling for like 36 hours. Our total travel time was 36 hours, including all the layovers and stopovers we had. When we flew from Budapest to Frankfurt, from Frankfurt to Boston, from Boston to LA. Boston to LA. When we got to Boston, we had like a 9-hour layover or something. So we had actually booked ourselves into a hotel at the hotel nearest the airport, and we had a change of clothes with us as well because we'd already been traveling all this time. We had like 4 hours in Frankfurt before flight. We get to Boston. We've got like 8 to 9 hours there, and so we just went up to that one. That one we did take a nap on that one, but we went and had a shower first, and that's the best thing you can do. I scrunched my toes in the carpet in the hotel room. I went and took my shower, and then I basically went to bed, and we slept for a couple of hours, and then got up and went back to the airport. Went and had something to eat, and then went back to the airport and caught our flight to LA. And when I got to LA, same routine: get home, had a scrunch my. We only had concrete outside, so I had to scrunch my toes in the carpet on that one. Went and had another shower, and then that evening took my little combo of oils here for massage my feet with lavender oil, and next morning I was up and awake at the normal time. So that is what works for me. What works for you? Let us know in the comments as to things that work for you. And we will catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. I'd love to know what works for other people. I'm always looking for different ideas and things too, because if you tell me how these things work for you, I will pass it on saying, I have been told. I haven't tried it. It may work for you. I don't know. So it's just like, these things may work for you too. If you want information on any of the products that we mentioned, they will be in the description for the Facebook and the YouTube channels. They'll be in the description of the movies. And for those of you on TikTok, I'm going to be putting the link to the YouTube channel video so you can watch the replay, and there'll be the stuff in the description there too. So everybody go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hei konera.